Hi friends, and welcome back to Rustic and Lace DIY. Today I have a fun spring video for you. I hope you enjoy it. But before we get to the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Brenda and this is my sweet Oliver. And if you're returning, you guys know we love you. So with all that being said, let's get to crafting. Okay, DIY number 1. So I'm going to take 3 of those small wood planks from Dollar Tree. I laid them out. I'm using my ruler here to make sure they're evenly spaced. I took some of the large craft sticks from Walmart and I laid them in place. I'm going to trace around them just so I know exactly where I want to glue them. Now, normally I would just glue the craft sticks themselves, but because of those little openings, I did not want to have glue seeping through. So I decided to do it this way. After I had them all traced out, I took my Tite Bond Quick and Thick multi-surface glue here, and I'm just going along the inside part of those markings. And then I'm going to take my hot glue and I'm going to go around the Tite Bond glue. Now this Tite Bond glue does dry very quickly. I just did not want to wait the length of time, even though it's usually, just a few minutes. I wanted to be able to paint this right away. So that's why I used the hot glue. Then I took my spackling. Now this is some older spackling and it's very dry, but I like using it to fill the holes because when you use the newer, wetter stuff, it takes a while for it to dry and it doesn't work too well when you paint over it. This stuff works much better. Then I'm going to paint each slat, one of them with Waverly in the color Celery, one with Waverly's Hazelnut, and one with Ballet Slipper. And once they were dry, I took some more of that hazelnut, and I'm just going to do some distressing all around the Ballet Slipper as well as the celery color. I love the rustic look and I love distressing, but if you are not a big rustic person or don't like distressing and want to recreate this, you could definitely not do the distressing. If you don't like these colors, you could definitely recreate this with colors that fit your style better. But this is just something that I really liked and just kind of wanted to put together. So with the hazelnut color there, I couldn't distress with the hazelnut. So I took some of my plaster and I'm just going to, actually, I think this might be ivory. I'm just going to add a little bit of distressing around that. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of that color in with the hazelnut distressing, just kind of blending them together. Then I took this little birdhouse from Walmart, and you can get this in the craft section, and I'm going to take my celery chalk paint. I'm going to paint the top part of the birdhouse, the little eave part. I guess that's what you call it. I don't know. And then the bottom part too, I'm going to paint that as well. Once they were dry, I took some of this adorable vinyl from Dollar Tree. Now, I have not seen this for a couple of years at Dollar Tree. So if you want to recreate this, you don't have to use this paper. You could use any kind of paper or vinyl or napkin or even just paint your birdhouse. Just make it your own. And so I'm just going to cut this out and I'm going to put it in front of my birdhouse here, trying to make sure it's all even and smooth. And then I turned it around and used my little finger knife to cut out that whole part. And then I, of course, trimmed off the sides with any extra vinyl that was hanging over. Then I went ahead and I took another piece. And I tried to match it up as good as I could. It was kind of hard. And I'm just going to cut that down too to fit on the front part of the bottom part of that birdhouse. After that was all done, I took my wood glue here. I'm going to put it all along the back side of my house, as well as some hot glue. And again, the wood glue is for permanent hold. Hot glue is for immediate hold. I'm going to glue this to the front of my signs. And once I was done with that, I was going to take these Scrabble tiles and I was going to put Home Sweet Home. And I only had like one H. I didn't have enough H's left. And and I had bought these a couple of years ago from Amazon in a big pack of like 500. And yeah, no more H's. It's kind of sad. But anyways, I glued those Scrabble tiles on the front. Then I took these little birds that came from, I believe, Hobby Lobby. I painted one with celery and one with ballet slipper. And I'm going to do the same thing on these as I did with the wood planks. I'm going to just distress them with some of that hazelnut color. I'm just going to go all around the edge. And then I'm going to just do a little few light strokes around the middle of both of them. And I only did the front. I should have done the back too because this excuse me, the way I have this, you might see the back. But anyways, I might have to go back and change that. I went ahead and created a couple holes on the bottom of my sign here and using my crocodile. And then I'm going to take some twine. I'm going to thread it through. I knotted the end, thread it through the hole on the bird, and I'm going to thread it this part through the bottom hole of the celery color side. And I'm going to just tie a knot there. And I got it to the length that I wanted. I had to tie like 3 knots. I should have made my hole a little smaller with my crocodile. But anyways, I'm going to do the same thing with the other bird, but I'm going to make that one just a little bit longer. And then after that, I just used a little dab of hot glue on each of the twine on the pellets as well as on the birds, just to kind of keep them in place. And then I just added a twine hanger, and that's all there is for this sweet spring rustic birdhouse DIY. I love how this came out. I hope you did too. You have to let me know in the comment box below. Okay, guys, here we are once again. I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. Our weather, I have to tell you guys, we were on Monday. Our high temperature got to like 83 degrees. It was so warm out. It was almost uncomfortable, but I didn't complain because I was loving it. The very next day, our high was 45. 45! It's like 40 degrees less. It's no wonder we're all getting sick over here. It's been crazy. Oh, anyways, but I've just been crafting away. I think I'm finally, other than the cough, I think I'm finally better. I have to tell you, at the beginning of the week, I was still really struggling with energy. I kept taking naps, and I finally have gone a couple of days without a nap. So I think I finally turned it around. I finally got my crafts done. It took me a while, but I am excited about getting into spring DIYs. I've got a lot of ideas, and I'm ready. I'm ready for spring. And I know most of you are too. I know I get a lot of comments about how cold it is where you are, or getting more snow, all that horrible stuff. But anyways, I think we're all about ready for spring, and it's going to be here quickly, and I'm glad. But anyways, I again just like to stop and say hello and just chit chat with you for just a few minutes. Again, if you are new here today, I would love it if you'd hit that red subscribe button and become part of our YouTube family. I'm getting really close to my 25,000 subscriber benchmark. I'm almost 300 away. I'm 400, less than 400 away, between 300 and 400. I haven't added the math lately, but I'm getting really close. And when I do get that, I'm going to have a couple of giveaways. So be watching for that. But anyways, if you enjoy home decor on a budget, I would love it if you'd help me out and hit that red subscribe button. It is free to you. It doesn't cost you anything. And, but it does help me out. And then hit that notification bell so that you're notified whenever I have a video that is uploaded, which I try to do on Sundays and Thursdays. Sometimes it's on Mondays once in a while, once a month, because of our Imagination challenge. But I try to keep it consistent. Sometimes it changes because of different challenges I may be on or something that's happened. But anyways, and then again, those of you who are always here and watching, you guys, I just appreciate you so very much. And I am so thankful for each one of you, and I can't say it enough. But anyways, with all of that, you guys, we'll get back to crafting. So let's get on with the video. Okay, DIY number 2. So I'm going to take one of these little beaded trays I found at my Dollar Tree right before the first of the year. So I was able to buy it. And I am just going to do some dry brushing with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory. Dry brushing is basically you don't put a whole lot of paint on your brush and you just go over it so that some of the background is still showing through. And I did this on the front, the sides, and the back. And then I took 2 birdhouses, 3 of these small wood candlesticks from Hobby Lobby, and then the little wood beads from Dollar Tree as well. And I'm going to paint all of that with my hazelnut color. Once they were dry, I decided to try and do the crackle technique on these birdhouses. I was a little worried because of the smaller spaces that how this was going to turn out. So I went ahead and added my school glue on top of the roofs. I kind of tested it out on the roof first. Then I used some of my white paint or my ivory paint. And now it was either ivory or plaster, I don't remember, but I should have probably used a bigger brush because I did kind of have to do a few strokes on each area, and you want to try to limit your strokes. And I think that might have been what happened, but it crackled a little bit, but not as much as I had hoped for it to crackle. But it didn't stop me because I decided to go ahead. Once I use my heat gun here to get the crackle effect, I guess I should add that part. Um, you can let it set to crackle, but it does take a little while to do that. But anyways, I went ahead and just crackled the rest of the birdhouse. And I did this on both birdhouses, but you see how it was kind of hard getting around everything there. And that's kind of what I was worried about. But I was able to get it to crackle a bit. So, um, after I had that all done, all here is where I'm adding the paint to it. So this is where I was really worried about, trying to get good enough coverage, but not cover too much, if that makes sense. But anyways, once it was all dry, I took my hot glue and some moss from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to glue this onto the bottom of my birdhouses. I'm going to add some of these little leaves. They come off those frosted greenery picks from Dollar Tree. These little daisies I think came from Walmart last year, and I love purple, so it's my favorite color. So I wanted to add some of those purple daisies, and then these little flowers come off the same pick as those green leaves. And then after, let's see, I add another daisy. I went ahead and added some more moss all the way around the bottom of this house. Now, the other house I did a little differently. You'll see that in the reveal here in a few minutes, but I'm just going to add a little more moss onto the top front of this house. The other one I went, I think, all the way around the top of the house. But after that, I took my three candlesticks, and I'm going to glue two of them together using my Titebond glue. And then I'm going to take that Titebond glue and I'm going to go around the top of the last candlestick. I'm going to glue one of my birdhouses to the top of that. See how I went around the top of the roof with that moss? Then I took these little beads. I'm going to use them for feet for my tray. I'm using my Titebond glue. I'm going to glue them right on the bottom of my tray. Then I decided to do this. So these little clay pots I think came from Hobby Lobby, as well as the saucer. I painted all of them with my hazelnut color. Then I am going to take some more of my ivory and I'm just going to distress all the way around it. I did both of the clay pots as well as the saucer. And again, if you don't like distressing, you don't have to do this part, but I like distressing. I like it to look like it's worn and been outside. Then when I was done, I took my Waverly chalk paint in the color Ocean, and I'm painting on the inside of that saucer, hoping to make it look kind of like water in there. And I'm going to make a little bird bath with this, so I am going to use my hot glue gun here to glue the two pots together. And then I'm going to glue that saucer right on top of those two pots. And then after that, I took some hot glue around the edge or the middle of those two pots. And I'm just going to glue some of the moss around there. And then I'm going to add some of the flowers to that as well. And then after that, I took my Titebond glue here. I'm going to glue my birdhouses to my little tray. And I'm going to use hot glue for the bird bath and glue that on. And then I decided to take some more hot glue around each one of those, and I added some of my moss just around the edge of each one of those, just to kind of give it a little more outdoorsy feel. I don't know. I have these little birds that I got from Amazon. I'm going to glue one on the bird bath, and there it is. I love how this came out. I think it is so sweet. Even though my crackling wasn't as good as I wanted it, I still really like this. I hope you do too. Let me know in the comment box below. Okay, it is a time for a celebration of your recreations, but I have nothing to share for you this month or today. So if you have a creation or recreation that you would like me to showcase, send pictures to my email address that's listed there or to me through Facebook, Messenger, or Instagram. I'd be happy to showcase them. Now here is DIY number 3. So I'm going to take this 14-inch wood round from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to paint it with my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster. I then took a 12-inch wood round from Dollar Tree, and I am using my ruler here to make sure that it's even, going all the way around the top, the bottom, and the sides to make sure it's all about even. And then I'm going to trace it. After I trace it, I am going to take this cute design I found on Cricut Design Space. I used my stencil vinyl to cut it out. I'm just going to lay it right on the bottom part of my wood round inside of that circle that I created. And then I'm going to use my Waverly chalk paint in the color Celery. I'm going to go over the whole image with this. Now, I kept going back and forth on doing just the celery color or doing different colors and making it kind of more whimsical. But I was just really feeling a little more rustic, and I was just really feeling the celery color. So I decided to go ahead and stay with this celery. I'm going to remove this. Now, if you don't have a Cricut machine, you could always find cute bird stencils. You could use a napkin. You could use stickers, rub-on transfers, it just kind of gives you ideas of things that you can do and create. So after it was all dry, I'm just removing all the little pieces of the vinyl that I couldn't pull up. And a lot of times I'll leave the smaller pieces until it's dry, so that way I'm not getting paint all over my surface. And then I also created this, it says Welcome Spring, and went over that with my celery paint as well. When it was all dry, I took a paintbrush here and my celery paint, and I'm just kind of eyeing the space in between each one, and I'm just making a brush mark just along the edge from this where I made that circle to the edge of my wood round. And then once I got that done, I took the color Moss by Waverly in a very small paint, and I'm just kind of going over that circle that I had created with my pencil, and I'm just covering it with that moss color. And I didn't care if it was perfect or not, because, rustic things are not always perfect, and that's one of the reasons why I love rustic. And then I went around on the side of each one of those celery paint marks there. I'm going to cover the ends of it with my moss as well. And then after that, I took my plaster, actually, I think this is ivory, and I dipped my paintbrush in it, the end of my paintbrush, to make little polka dots all the way around in the celery color. After that, I took my crocodile here, and I'm making 2 hanger holes. And after I did that, I made 2 more holes right in the center of my wood round, because I want to attach my bow and greenery that I'm going to add to it with a zip tie. So I'm just going to use my crocodile again, and then I'm going to take some more Dollar Tree greenery. I love this stuff. It is so pretty. And yeah, I'm almost out of that stuff. But I tied some twine around it to hold it in place. And then this ribbon I got last year at Sam's Club. And I thought it's so pretty. And then the other ribbon, I have no idea. I think that came from Kathy Joe. Maybe, no, it might have been something I had. But there's no wire on the outside of it. So I struggled to make my bow. And again, I just do the awareness ribbon, scrunch it up in the middle, and then tie something around it to hold its shape, and then dovetail the ends, which you just fold the ends in half and cut at an angle. Then I'm going to put it on the top of my wood sign and add my zip tie around it, and then just tighten it in the back. I probably should have tightened it in the front, because I didn't, it might scratch up your wall or whatever with that little thing in the back. You can always put some tape over it or whatever you might felt, or something to kind of keep it from scratching your walls. But there it is. I love it. I just added some twine for a hanger, and I just think it's so adorable. You'll have to let me know what you think about this one as well. Okay, our final DIY, number 4. So for this DIY, I'm going to take this wood. It's a 12 by 4 inch, I think, wood piece that I got from Temu. And I traced a little paint bottle because I was going to cut this out. And I'm using my finger knife, and I knew I would have to go around and score it a lot. But something just told me, you know what, I don't think this is going to work. So I did end up stopping. I thought, well, for if anything, I can paint it black, and that way it will stand out a little bit more. So I have my black chalk paint, my plaster chalk paint that I painted the rest of the board with, as well as that box. And then the little circle was painted with the black, but it ended up not working anyway. So you'll see what happens. So I took my square ruler here. I traced at an angle, and then I took my box knife and I am just going to score this. I think I scored it about 15 times before I was able to cut it off, and I did that on both sides. Then I'm going to go over the whole thing with some Mod Podge. I did not do the very bottom because I knew I was going to have that crate there, that little box, but I'm just going to go over the top with my Mod Podge, and then I'm going to let it dry after I brush it all on. Once it was dry, I took this beautiful napkin. I love this napkin. I don't know who gave this to me. I don't remember, but you can find this on Amazon. It does come in a big package. If you don't want to spend that much, you could use, if you want to recreate this, there's other bird design napkins at decoragenapkin.com that are just as pretty. So I put my parchment paper over it and went over it with my heat press. The parchment paper protects the napkin, and the heat press reactivates that Mod Podge so that the napkin sticks. And then I'm going to cover it again with my Mod Podge just to give that protective coat over that napkin. Once that was dry, I took my finger sander and I'm just going to sand off the excess so that we have a nice close cutting to the edge of that little house. Then I took these square dowels that Kathy Jo had sent me last year, and I just uh, measured the length that I want, and I'm going to use my miter shears to cut them down. I'm going to cut down to, I'm going to paint them, and I decided to paint that box with the celery color as well. Once they were all dry, I'm going to take my Type-On Quick and Thick Multi-Surface Glue. I'm going to glue those little square dowels to the top part of my birdhouse here. And you see that you can see the black through the napkin, which for that black hole, but I like it because it gives an idea that there's a hole there without cutting the image off from the napkin. And that's what I didn't like. No matter where I laid the napkin, I was going to cut some of the image off that I wanted. So that's why I decided to just cover up that napkin, and I really do like how it came out. So I'm going to use my Type-On glue and hot glue to glue that box to the front, and then I took some more of these dowels. I decided to go ahead and cut them down so they fit down the front, and I painted them with the celery color as well. Then I'm just using my Type-On glue again, and I just glued those down. And I did have to lay some paint containers on top for a few minutes just to hold it in place while it dried. And then I took some succulents. I got these last year from Amazon, and I'm just going to fill up my little container. If you had flowers, you could do flowers. You could do a little bird's nest, whatever you wanted if you wanted to recreate this. But I absolutely love that napkin, and I love how this came out. I hope you do too. And I've already got it in my dining room on one of my cabinets. But anyways, here is the final reveal. Thank you guys all so very much for stopping by today, for watching. Make sure you give me that thumbs up and comment before you go. And if you are new here, I would love it if you'd hit that subscribe button before you go as well. I will be back again on Monday for the Just Our Imagination Challenge, so stay tuned for that. That's always a load of fun. And with all that, you guys, I hope you have a truly blessed weekend, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.